welcome to the seated acupressure or chair massage tutorial. I've got my assistant today and we're just going to run through a really simple routine that you can do at home. You'll see here it's just a simple dining chair, nothing fancy is needed at all. Okay, before we get started, just a few points. Safety. If your client is pregnant, there's just one point on the shoulders you want to avoid applying loads of pressure to, and that's this point here where the neck meets the shoulder. You can work on it, just don't dig into it firmly. Overall, if your client is reasonably healthy and they feel well, then you're fine to proceed. And if you're unsure, just ask a medical professional and do some research. Okay, so important things are to make sure the person you're working on is comfortable. When they get up or sit down, ask them to take their time. Make sure they're hydrated, that they've got some water to hand to have before or after whenever they need. Okay, so we'll get started with a few basics. Okay, before we do any of the moves, I want to talk about the importance of posture. So at any given moment, you want your back to be straight, your shoulders to be relaxed and loose. If you need to be higher up or lower down, you just adjust your legs. You can take a sort of triangular stance, take a lunge position, but your legs are going to give you that height leverage. Your legs are also going to help you lean into the person to apply pressure, which I'll show you shortly. So the emphasis is always on leaning and using your body weight instead of straining your arms. Okay, so let's do mini anatomy lesson. Okay, so this is about areas that are good to work on. So we've got the spine straight down the middle, so we're not going to work on there. Shoulders, shoulder blades, so have a little feel on the person you're about to work on. You can feel the shoulder blades, just bone. Anywhere else is fine to work on apart from those. Nothing bad will happen if you work on those areas. It'll just feel a bit uncomfortable because it's just bone. So a really good area to work, so it's the area between the spine and the shoulder blade. So you've got a nice little region here and it goes all around the shoulder and on the tops. That's just where the tension is, so that's a really good area to work on. Okay, so let's get started. So your first move is going to be along the top of the shoulders. So please would you move, face the door. So this one's just nice and gentle, it just starts everything off, gets you both in the mindset that it's massage time. So we're just going to rest our forearms on top. The emphasis is using the underneath of the forearm, so it's just nice and soft. You're just going to lean and stand. It seems like you're not doing much, but to the person in the chair, it can be just quite nice. So I'm just kind of fairly still, but I'm moving to the side with my body, and that's giving me the movement and power. In that way I don't need to strain my shoulders or my arms. I'm literally just gently leaning. How's that pressure? How does that feel?
That's nice, thanks.
So a good question to ask the person you're working on, especially when you start doing a move or if you're going to do anything firm, is how's the pressure for you? Do you want more or less? The reason we ask do you want more or less is because a lot of people are very polite and they might just say yes, that's fine, even if they did actually want more, or even if it did hurt a bit. So if you say do you want more or less, it gives them the opportunity to go, oh yeah, I'll have a bit more, or oh actually a bit less. The routine I'm going to show you could last half an hour, as long as you wanted. I'm going to do roughly a 15-minute version, but you can make this as long as you want, as I said. Just continue the moves. So you can move more to the edge of the shoulders, where you can feel bone underneath. You don't need to go that far. And then you can move back in and just lean. Just let your body do the work. It should all be easy for you in terms of the fact that you're not straining, it's not tiring. Your hands can be relaxed, you don't need to hold a fist. You should just do nice deep breaths. The person having the treatment should do nice deep breaths, so that it's relaxing for everyone. Probably could do this for about an hour actually. I think this would be beneficial, wouldn't it? Okay, so the next one we're going to do is using our forearm, and we're going to target all the areas around the shoulder blade. Okay, so as I said, we've got all these different areas you can work on around the shoulder, anywhere except the shoulder blade itself and the spine. So maybe could you just tilt slightly towards this wall, please? Just on let me move the chair slightly round, like that, like everyone can see. Okay, so we can start just kind of around here. So the way we're going to apply pressure is we're going to use this part of our arm, the underneath of the forearm, or we can move on to the elbow if we feel that more pressure is good. But for now, just use the side of the forearm, the underside. You're just leaning. So I'm leaning now between the shoulder blade and the spine. And put my hand on the front of the shoulder just to stabilise me. And if we want more pressure, just lean forward. How's that pressure? Do you want more or less?
A bit more, maybe.
More, good. So if we want more, just lean forward more. Because I'm working further down the back than I was at the beginning, I want to be lower down. So my legs are in a squat position now. And that's just given me the height difference. How's that pressure now?
A little bit much, actually.
Okay, so we go a bit less. So you'll get used to what's right for the person you're working on. Okay, nice deep breaths. Okay, then we move up. Just move up a bit. Same kind of region in between spine and shoulder blade. And repeat. So essentially this move with the forearm is the bulk of the routine. And I'll pick the next point up. So this is sort of the edge of the back here. So you can use different parts of your forearm. It feels like my arm would tuck nicely into this corner here. So I'm just going to use a sort of slightly different part of my arm, which is a bit further up. Kind of at the base of the neck, actually. How's this pressure? Do you want more or less?
Yeah, that's nice, I'd say.
Okay. Your options for movements, either just stay and hold, don't move much, or you can slightly rotate your arm around. Which do you prefer, the holding still or the rotate?
I like the rotate, thanks.
Yeah, so pros and cons, but just see what works. So when I want to apply more pressure to the tops of the shoulders, you can do it this way. However, it does feel more comfortable to go around the other side. It just kind of fits better. I'm not leaning over as much. Much the same as before, just leaning. Now if you need a bit more height, like I do, just go on my tiptoes for this, but make sure you feel nice and stable. Otherwise, you know, just stay on your grounded feet, but you might have to lift your arm up a bit. If you want more pressure, you can even rest your arm here and then you can apply more. How's this pressure? Do you want more or less?
It's maybe a tiny bit more, not much.
Okay. So if it's someone that likes a lot of pressure, you can use more the elbow part. I'll just demonstrate this. Oops, sorry. Like that. And you can really dig in as such. You can keep your arm relaxed, there's no need to hold a fist. For the most part, most people will be happy with the forearm here, but you do get people occasionally that really like that firm pressure. Okay, now I'm going to repeat on the other side so that you can follow along with me. So exactly the same as before. So we're starting off around here. I use the other arm. So I'm needing to lower myself a bit. So you can't see here, but my back leg is out and my front leg is bent forward like a lunge position, and that's enabling me to move lower. My free hand is on the front of the shoulder and the collarbone just to add support. Moving up. How's that pressure? More or less?
Oh, that's fine. Thanks. Nice as it is.
Okay. So I'm gently moving up and down with my full body by sort of lunging, and that's giving me that slight rocking movement which enables my arm and elbow to access different angles of the muscle. The hand I'm using is still floppy, there's no need to make a fist. Moving up. So there's no need for them to wear just a small top, especially in winter. Just jumper's fine, cardigan's fine. The force of your arm and the weight of your body leaning against someone is plenty to get through a cardigan or a jumper. If at any point you feel like you're not sure where your arm should be going, just use your hands to have a feel, to check in. Make sure it's muscle, not bone. You'll feel the difference. You can also feel for tension, which just feels like a resistance or a toughness. It's not squidgy basically. That's if you need to sort of check in with what you're doing. So it can take a bit of time for your elbow to get used to feeling for tension. move around now because I'm coming to the top, and it's just easier to lean. Keep your shoulders down. The person that's doing this, keep your shoulders nice and relaxed. Moving down slightly. Anywhere's fine along the top, but not on the edge because that's just the shoulder bone there. So this whole section here is good. How's this pressure?
Nice, thanks.
So I'm not needing to lunge much because of the height difference between me and Andrew. However, if there is, if the person doing it, if you're quite tall and the person sat down is not as tall, as I said, just change the height with your legs. Get that lunge position going. Your legs can adjust you. Yeah, so you could repeat this, carry this on for an hour probably, be very nice. I'm going to move on. If you did want to do longer with your partner, just press pause and carry on in your own time, or just rewind what we've done and just repeat it. So we're going to move on to the next moves, and this is working on the neck. So just do a kind of gentle warm up, and we've got this kind of motion, like a clasp. So I'm going to put one hand on the head, or you can put it on the forehead, and that just stabilises you a bit and kind of gives them a bit of support. So we're just squeezing a bit. So please would you move slightly towards the wall, just so I can, are you comfy like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the anatomy is the same here. No pressing on the spine, which goes up this way. Just work along the side. Avoid the throat. You'll be fine. You'll feel this tension here. It just feels a bit tough. Move back to where you were actually. Thanks. A bit more this way, like this, just so you can see where my fingers are accessing the neck. So, to minimise strain whilst you're doing this part, keep your hand kind of still, but use your whole shoulder and your body to do this kind of rocking movement. And that way you're avoiding just using the force of your arm, you're using the whole body. You can do all the neck, you can move up to the start of where the hair is, the back of the head. Usually feels really good. Even onto the sort of bony bit on the back of the head. Nothing wrong with that. How's that feel?
That's very nice, thanks.
Bring it into a bit of a head rub as well. This works just moving your hand like so, and The emphasis is on moving the scalp around, so you can kind of put your hand like that and just kind of move it around, and that's going to move the scalp. Or some people might just prefer something very gentle. It's entirely up to them. You communicate with the person you're working with. You can even lift the hair like so, off the scalp. Just very gently pull and release, and that can just feel really good actually, because we have a lot of tension in the scalp and the head. Again, this is one of the moves you could do for a very long time, and I don't think there'd be a problem with that. If your arm gets tired, just swap arms. Just put your other hand round and use your other arm, move around. You don't need to stay in one spot. Okay. If you want to target a little bit more on the neck, certain points with a bit more pressure, you can use both thumbs together, like so, and that way they can support each other. So you kind of pick a point, you'll feel for some tension, usually it's around here. Either do a one-hander or with both. Not always necessary. Sometimes people just really have a lot of tension in the neck, and that can be a good way to access it. This area here, this can easily be done with the forearm, so I would prefer to do that. If you use your thumbs on the whole shoulders and everything, you'll just get tired hands. So I save the thumbs for the neck, because it's not quite as easy to use the forearm there, and it's not really the best. Okay, last one, just a bit of a wake up and just pummeling. So I just use my fists and wrists like very, very loose fist movements basically, and I use the side of the palm here, and it's exactly the same areas as we worked on before. This kind of curve right round the shoulder. You can do the sort of mid to upper back area between the shoulder blades. I've got my shoulders low. I'm adjusting my height by leaning down on my legs, squatting. My wrists are loose. I'm not a sort of rigid position like that with my arms. And it just gets good blood flow to the area, just kind of wakes someone up, quite relaxing as well. Or you can do the choppy chop on the side. Are you a fan of this move? Or?
Feels really nice, thanks.
Yeah. Prefer pummel, this one, or chop?
More the pummel, I think.
Yeah. I prefer the pummel. I find it easier and it's good on the meaty part of your hand. You can do it as fast as you want, as slow as you want, as hard as you want. You can move around. The point that you're working on should be in line with the middle of your body. That's kind of makes it easier. So that means you're moving around, you're not just staying in one spot and doing that, just kind of moving around a bit. Make sure your shoulders are low. Again, this move could be done for a long time. It just feels quite good. Okay, I would just like to brush away everything at the end, just kind of end the treatment. All done. Okay, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoy.